All right, good evening, everybody. Another day in paradise. Wanted to hop up here real quick. I promise I'm going to make this short and sweet. I don't intend to be here for a long time, but I did want to share this with you guys. And this was actually shout out to the gentleman. There's a gentleman who emailed me yesterday and sent me this clip. And I thought, this is worthy enough for me to kind of give my own personal reaction to it. So why not? So a pleasure to be here with you guys this evening. Right off the bat, you can kind of see the title of the video found. It's Erasure, the Marginalization of Multiracial People. This is Mia Ward here. This is a TED Talk. And clearly you can look at my kind of title, the marginalization of mulatto people, in parentheses, reaction, right? So I kind of put my, mulatto emphasis in the title description because the specificity, the emphasis is critical. And so without further ado, I'm going to get right into it. Appreciate you guys being here. I respect your guys' time. So if you guys appreciate the content, I'd appreciate it if you guys hit the like button. Help a brother out. And let's get this cracking. Fair use.
If you have ever seen an interview or read an article about the discrimination against.
Right off the bat, you saw this is Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it said March 2024. So this is basically fresh, right? Brand new, a few months ago.
Mixed race individuals. Okay. Now, I want you to raise your hand if you've ever seen an article dedicated to the discrimination or marginalization of a singular race. Okay, great. So what I want you to do is take those answers, hold on to them, lock them in tight, and we're going to circle back later. But for now, I'm going to tell you guys a story.
And just want to add clarification. I will be doing some pausing because I kind of have to for the copyright stuff. But this lady is mulatto and the same configuration as me. And so yeah, just wanted to add that in there.
It's the story of a fight. Now, this fight started as most things did at the time with the Black Lives Matter movement. And me and my father were caught in this really heated debate shortly after George Floyd had been killed. And before I go any farther, I just want to say I will never discount my father's perspectives on race. He was born as a Black man in 1960s Alabama. And his anger at the blatant and rampant violence towards Black people at the time was more than valid and more than deserved, and certainly earned.
I wanted to add something there that is interesting because there is a nuance in time frame difference, right, in generations where, and her father, she's saying, was born in Alabama in like the 60s or whatever, civil rights era. But we look at today, this is 2024, the times have changed drastically. Some people will try to trick you, hoodwink you, and fool you to make you think, oh, it's the same as it was back in the 1960s and back on the plantation days. It's all the same stuff. It's like, I don't think so. I've traveled this whole country, big country, United States of America, and it doesn't appear to be the same as it was, when I watch some of these documentaries, read articles, etc., researching back in the 1960s or late 60s civil rights era. But there's a lot of people who kind of want to hoodwink mulattoes into thinking that the same rules apply or the same type of, society in the, that we're still in the same type of environment. And I don't think that's the truth. I know that's not the truth. Things have changed drastically with transportation, information, technology, even in rural communities where information is getting to these people. And so it's a perspective and nuance of generation is very critical. That's the reason why it's like, is this mulatto woman? You can't really take the advice of your parents like that. This is the issue, what we find with a lot of biracial people. is your parents are not oftentimes well equipped to inform you of the reality of the situation and what you're going to perhaps witness. I feel like other mulattoes are more inclined to give you that necessary information or tools to help you better navigate the society because your parents are monoracial, okay? Or they're black or white or whatever. They don't have your unique experience being a biracial lady. She's going to need to seek community with other biracial people and sort through the information and find commonality to really navigate society moving forward. This is what I honestly feel, because I feel like a lot of our parents, they're not equipped. They can't relate to us in ways where we can relate to each other. And I've said this before too, even when I was like a teenager in high school, there was a couple mulatto guys who worked as staff members at the school. And I really related to them right off the bat, you know, because they kind of looked just like me. They were just an older, bigger version of me when I was like, what, 16 or 17 years old. And they were in their like 30s or whatever. So it's like, I felt like that really helped me out as a kid to experience that connection, because there was already a bond right away. I was like, okay, I'm looking at somebody who's older and bigger than me, like, and they identified with me. And that was crucial. And I feel like a lot of mulattoes don't have that, don't experience that. They haven't, depending on their environment, etc. And I feel like we need that. The men and the women, males, females, we need to have others around us who look like us, share our culture, heritage, and can help us navigate some of these kind of tricky situations that we will often be placed in. Only us will be able to help each other in a lot of ways with some of these issues, or a lot of these issues, I should say. Let me continue on.
However, he said something at the time that I couldn't quite get past, because he told me that I would never know what it was like to be someone like him in that sort of situation. And if you're like, oh, hey, Mia, I hate to break it to you, but you are Black. Yeah, I know. Relax. We're good, right?
So it's her father's Black, tried to one drop her and tell her, hey, just remind you, you're Black, right? They want to kind of weaponize their Blackness as a scar to fear. That must suck. That's horrible. Like, I don't see other cultures doing it like that. Like West African cultures, which I'm more acquainted with, Nigerian or Ghanaian, which like they're not really wearing their Blackness as a scar. They have a lot of traditions based around their culture. There's a lot of celebration. But when you talk about African American culture, like her part of her heritage, same as mine, where it's like we find within that community, they kind of weaponize it's like a scar, their Blackness. Like, oh, just to remind you, you're Black. And when the police pulls you over, they gonna finna see you with the Black. You gonna finna be a Black. So you better be scared. Remember, you Black. But then, of course, because since they are Black, monoracial, they hold the keys to Blackness, so to speak. Right. Or the analogy I use is the black card. I call it a barbecued stain, cornbread grease, black card. Right. You invited to the cookout. That's kind of their symbol for the acceptance. But so her father will remind her that she's Black, but at the same time, she's just said that her father was telling her, oh, you're not going to experience the same things as him. Right. That kind of subtle outgrouping, so to speak. Well, you're not quite like me. You're better off. You're less Black, but you're still Black. Like this, the way how they wear that Blackness is a scar, it can be very damaging to a lot of these mulattoes, especially if they don't have the research or the community or just the, lived experience to navigate the kind of the tomfoolery they're going to experience. I feel like it's really good now that, especially for me, the past 2 years that I've navigated some of these online spaces and have talked to people in real life, real time, where it's like you got to sort through all the BS, because you have a lot of these mulattoes who grew up Black identified. their whole life, their whole journey through life is fighting for black acceptance. But then you have mulattoes who realize, hey, look, this is what I am. I got a white parent, black parent, or two mixed parents. I have connected with both sides. This is who I am. And yeah, interesting stuff. Let me continue on.
I know, I know what I am. So much so, in fact, that I can tell you guys that I am mixed. My mother is Caucasian. Look at that beautiful mixed family up there. Aren't we pretty?
Did you know that AI?
Got these ads that I got to get through here.
Slide as much as I loved him. So I looked him in the eyes and I said, Dad, you will never know what it's like to be watching someone who looks like your mother kill someone who looks like your father.
And those are pretty deep words on her part. Watching someone who looks like your mother kill someone who looks like your father, probably referencing the George Floyd situation. What if it's in the reverse? Would she have the same kind of sentiments if it was someone who looks like her father killing somebody who looks like her mother, which does happen? And there's people who, you know, in other parts, other circles, whatever, they're gonna say it doesn't get reported, right, as much. But it happens both ways. There's a lot of it happens both ways. And so I'm interested to see if she would feel the same way if it happened the other way around.
And I'm very grateful from that moment that my dad chose to empathize with me and better understand my point of view from that point forward. But saying that really brought up this argument, this problem, this neglect of mixed people's issues for all of the racial torrents, all the torrents of racial.
You talk about the neglect of mixed people's issues, because see, mix is very broad because you're including everybody, which some of the more prominent, larger social media platforms across all the other networks, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, you name it, they have terms called mixies, and they're basically all inclusive. You know, there's other terms they can use, right? Like exoticals or golden and all these, even multiracial. That's why I redefined, or I titled this the marginalization of mulatto people, and she's a mulatto, versus marginalization of multiracial people, because she's going to use a lot of vague, ambiguous terminology like multiracial or mixed, because that's the thing, like the experiences of other groups or other racial kind of dual heritage configurations are not the same as mulatto. Like, let's be clear and honest. So we look at people like Obama, Kaepernick, Patrick Mahomes, and all these other individuals. They are at the kind of higher end echelon of media spotlight, or public visibility. But like the everyday like mulatto person throughout this nation, United States, and other places as well, they can relate, where it's like our situation is a lot more unique. In a sense, you have two groups that are kind of competing with one another, that have been competing with each other for centuries, and there were kind of strict racial class designations assigned. We have a master and a slave, etc., and we're kind of caught in the middle, pun intended. And I laugh and joke with people. It's like, look, because people like even Kwame Brown will say, you guys know Kwame Brown, right? They'll say, and of course, Chrissy, we know she, of course, identifies with Kwame Brown. I told you guys, because the Bantu women will always support the Bantu men when they're attacking mulattoes, like what they're doing with Drake. And Chrissy said, oh, she feels Kwame Brown's pain because he's a dark skinned man and blah blah blah. Yeah, right. We know the Bantus, all the divestors and all that, they all back each other up against you mulattoes. Unfortunately, you mulattoes haven't figured it out yet. Those of you who tune into me, you're going to learn. And yeah, we had Kwame Brown talking about stuck in the middle. He was like trying to mock, what's his name, the other biracial mulatto cat. They called that cat Matt Barnes, with all the tattoos. They even kind of mocked him, calling him Becky with the good hair. That's how the dark-skinned Bantus mock this biracial guy, calling him Becky with the good hair because he has straight hair. He doesn't have nappy hair. Just like they're trying to call Drake the colonizer, and they're calling him white boy, right? Rick Ross, white boy or colonizer, right? Same thing they did on a basketball court with Matt Barnes. But Kwame Brown said stuck in the middle. He was talking to Matt Barnes, talking about you stuck in the middle, stuck in the middle. And I'm like, look, I'd rather be stuck in the middle than stuck at the bottom with you creatures. And I laugh. I'm like, yeah, this is my whole position here. This whole stuck in the middle. It doesn't seem like it's too bad. It doesn't seem like it's that much of a kind of, hairy situation, thinking about being stuck at the bottom. I'm not trying to be stuck at the bottom with you people. Okay. Unfortunately, there's a lot of mulattoes who want to. They can go over there. Just don't reference me because, not having it.
Inequality and violence, these problems don't get mentioned. And the people that straddle these racial lines fall to the wayside. I'll give you an example. In an article released,
she said the people who straddle these racial lines fall by the wayside. And you know what? I was talking a bunch of crap recently, right now, about stuck in the middle, that whole analogy. But there was something she said that was important I wanted to say. Like this whole thing, the whole concept with this whole erasure, like she said, mixed people's problems or mulattoes people's problems. Look, the whole thing is to find a community, and that's the solution is there. Finding commonality, people you can relate to, you can bounce ideas off of, have a think tank, so to speak. That is literally for me the epiphany of solution, is developing that community, which a lot of these people are missing. They're losing. They're too busy trying to fit in with this group and that group and see how they can wiggle their way in. Now, she's a lady, and I referenced off my other stream I did a few days ago, and I was only referencing a couple ladies that I mixed women on YouTube that I find to be problematic, and how they make it their nature to hate on mixed men because they're doing that to fit in with black men. They have to do black men's bidding, okay? Because they need protection in the black community, because black women outnumber everybody in the black. It's a matriarchy, right? And there's more women than men. So black women are the majority in the black community. That's why they, as far as voting, they always get their way as far as Democrat, right? And all their politicians, they're heavily represented. So they're all households are led by them. So it's a matriarchy, an African-American community. And they make up the majority black women. So the biracial woman, okay, who has a white mom, right, she's going to get picked on oftentimes by black women. And so they need protection if they want to live within those parameters in that community. So they have to go to the black man. They got to go to the black guy. They got to get the black guy if they want protection from black women. So, and it's an agreement they have. In order to get the protection from the black guy, they got to do his bidding for him. And what that entails is slandering mixed men, right? And the pathetic and sad, despicable part is a lot of these women, they got brothers and sisters that are, or brothers, I mean, pause. Yeah, they got sisters too, but we're talking about they got brothers that are mixed guys. And we're like, how are you going to talk shit about mixed guys, trying to clown them for being light skinned? And I'm looking at you like, bitch, aren't you light skinned? Oh, but you're a woman. That's right. You're Pookie's preference. I get it. Yeah. So they want protection. So I did a whole stream kind of, but I was referencing a couple people. Seriously, out of all the women and all the platforms and the people I'm connecting with, I got a couple ladies that put comments in the chat right now. Like, so I'm good with most of the women, most of the mulattoes, etc. And but there's a few, I would say at least two, that are content creators that are, fat pigs, and they're very vocal and nasty about your boy here. They're very, very vulgar about me and how they don't like me. And we look at his results, it's like, okay, they're baby mamas, they got black baby daddies, and that's their pathway to blackness. Okay. But I look at a lady like this, like that's kind of it's granted. A lot of them, that's an option for them. Right. And it's easier to choose that route. to become a Blackistan baby mama. It's easier to choose that route than it is to basically create your own situation where you have other mulattoes. Try to work it out with them. Start small. You'll probably have to kick out a lot of people and block a lot of people, like I've had to do. And most of the people I've had to kind of block and kick out have all been like Gen X. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, I know people don't like the fact that I kind of harp on Gen Xers, but a lot of my biggest like haters, especially the dudes, have been like I'm like, because they come from a generation where it's like they want to flex with this hood swag and I'm from the hood and all. I don't care about that monkey shit. Go somewhere else with that stuff. I don't care. I'm not from that generation, that environment where you want to flex this street cred and you got your hip hop songs, you from the hood. I don't care. Go talk to somebody else about that. So a lot of these cats, I've had to kind of tell them to skedaddle, which is cool. That's part of the process. You kind of got to thin the herd and realize who you can vibe with and etc. Just wanted to say that. Let me continue on with this. But yeah, the pathway to blackness we find with a lady like this, she does a social justice work. She could find herself a you know, whatever. Whoever she finds, that's her destiny, her business. Yeah, fair use.
By the University of Massachusetts, Boston, researchers found that in South Korean children, respondents reported feelings of in-betweenness. And in-betweenness in this context is used to describe feelings of detachment from either side of their family. Why? Well, in South Korea, it is within their culture to have children choose sides. If you are not 100%, you are foreign. These children, these small children, are forced to choose sides that should never have to be chosen in the first place.
And I wanted to pause to add in that she's using this case study of Koreans of choosing a side with their parents, but that same, and she'll get into that basically same type of argument is foisted upon us and over us about choosing a side, picking a side. This is why the language is specific. When you talk about biracial, you're putting yourself in that situation of choosing this side or this side. How do you identify more? I feel like this whole mulatto-ness is more straightforward. And it's the wholeness, the oneness, the fusion, which is an entirely independent entity. And centering yourself around that, I feel like I know, I don't just feel, and logically, I know it is the best solution moving forward. And I do see it with the younger generation. That kind of gives me inspiration, right? And a lot of material. I don't know the guy who shared this video with me. I don't know what generation he is. He could be millennial, Xer, or Zoomer. I do not know. But the thing is, like, look, this lady appears to be in the video, the TED Talk. She appears to be a Zoomer, Gen Z. Moving forward, guys, those of you who listen to me, who appreciate my voice and who want to hear me talk about this stuff, look, you guys got to seek homage and community cohesion, commonality with other mulattoes. There's no way, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no way about it. Like, if you still think you're going to serve the black group or the white group and you're going to find their solutions, have at it, have fun. But if you even try to come over here and try to taint us, I'm going to be watching and listening.
And whether it's emotional harm like that or physical harm, mixed people face these kinds of dangers every day of their lives. So much so that in another article, this one released by California Baptist University, in cases of multiracial discrimination and race-based stress, respondents were found to experience symptoms that resembled traumatic stress. And if you're like, you know what, that kind of
traumatic stress. And she said something about multiracial discrimination. You guys don't hear that word too often, right? But this was interview, or not, excuse me, this TED Talk, this public speech was conducted a few months ago, 3 months ago. It said March 2024, I believe, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And she literally publicly said multiracial discrimination. This is a real thing. People discriminate against us because we're mixed. And shout out to the Mulatto mermaid. She shared a video the other day talking about how there's people who use choice language. They literally have stereotypes on us, and they have their specific racial slurs directed at us. So this is a real thing. Like, there's specifically discrimination, because people will try to hoodwink you and trick you with thinking that, oh, they only discriminate against you because you're part black or half black, so they know you just gonna be a black. No, no, no. Because a lot of the blacks, they're gonna discriminate against you because you're half white, just like the whites will discriminate against you because you're half black. And then you have other groups like Hispanics will discriminate against us because because they have intimate knowledge of both the whites and the blacks, and they see how the blacks are discriminating against mulattoes. And but the thing is, where the Hispanics and the Latinos, have an advantage, is because they have cohesion. They have a cultural element and cohesion to them, and what connects them with their language, religion, Catholicism, but their language, Espanol, and then they have flags, depending whatever their nationality, Mexican or Cuban, Puerto Rican, and there's mulattoes in Cuba and Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, of course, and Panama. But in the United States and Southwest, and there's a lot of large Mexican population, not many mulattoes. So little different situation arranged over here in this area. But we face discrimination from them as well, other groups. Even I remember even the Filipino woman, or no, she wasn't Filipina, sorry, but they do discriminate. But everyone's discriminating against our ass. That's the thing. That's the point, because they know that we are vulnerable in a lot of ways, and they can, because they see how the blacks have taken all of our wins. African Americans, let me be specific. They claim Obama, they claim Alicia Keys, Steph Curry. They claim all our wins, everything we do that's good. They claim it, but then they want to discriminate and talk shit about light skins and mixed every day on social media. So these other groups, they study these blacks and are like, oh, you guys are you mulattoes are an unprotected, underrepresented group in this country. So these other groups, they jump on the bandwagon. They want to make themselves feel better. They want some ego points and shit. It's war out here. And so they're going to throw some dirt on your ass. And I don't see many mulattoes standing up because they're punks. They're scared. They're going to be called a racist and all this other crap. It's like, well, what is that the worst they can call you? They can call you some other shit too. I mean, I'd rather just be, as long as they call me something, look, I'd rather be in a position of power. I don't want to be in a position of weakness. And the fact that other groups look at us as being underrepresented, not having a tribe, so to speak, that will back us up, and they actually think they can test us. And that's what this whole Drake situation is with Kendrick and Drake. And people are testing you daily. And a lot of these mulattoes haven't figured it out. Let me continue on, because I can go on longer than I probably should.
That kind of sounds like post-traumatic stress disorder. Well, you're not wrong. Because later on in the article, the authors literally go on to say in these words, these symptoms can be likened to that of post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, we don't have.
The thing is, I appreciate the woman, and I like this woman, Mia Ward. Like, that's why gentleman shared this with me, email. I don't want to take the position of being a victim. I want to be the victor. And that's the whole thing here, guys. I put the marginalization. Marginalization is, kind of a, academic term that's definitely used within the social justice warrior kind of realm, so to speak. Marginalized communities and etc. But she makes valid points, like when she talks about how said multiracial discrimination. I never hear that anywhere. I mean, a lot of these mulattoes, they jump up here and talk about anti-blackness and colorism. And this woman's laying it out perfectly that it's literally multiracial discrimination. I say mulatto discrimination. Okay, mulatto hate, like what they're doing with Drake and J. Cole and others. So, but I don't want to take the position of being a victim. It's very critically important. We don't want to be proud victims, because we see when other groups, specific group who attacks us every day on social media, they take the proud victim route. And I don't want to follow their footsteps. We got to go do something that's independent from them, that doesn't involve being a proud victim. So that's why it's tricky, but we have to analyze this. I'm a mulatto, she's a mulatta. So now you have a mulatto man analyzing what this mulatto woman is saying, but I'm giving her congrats, and I'm, commending her for using her voice on that platform to speak on the, it's very important. Like, I'm happy that she's doing this and she's talking about multiracial discrimination. We need people to voice for us. But there could be some kind of, change in language, etc., and all this stuff. We can do that down the line. The fact that the conversation is being had is critically important. Let's continue on.
Have problems. And you know what? Every instance in my life and those around me prove it. I'll tell you about my best friend. We've known each other for 19 years. She's Latina, but like me, she's white. And she goes to school in North Carolina. But the thing is that in the South, even in 2024, racial lines are still very hard drawn. And
Yeah, I can say that. Like, within the South, it's a lot different than other states. It's funny, I almost slipped and said nations, because like you have like nation states essentially. Like, in the United States, you think of the nations like nation state, different laws in each state, and the culture can be extremely different in other states. Like, there's a gentleman, older gentleman, I think he's in his 50s, the Al Show. He could be listening right now, but he's from Hawaii. In the Al Show, I think he lived in California for a brief bit, but he's in Hawaii right now. And I'm from California, and he's traveled different parts of this country in the South as I have. And he knows it's like there's a major nuances and differences in culture in these different states and different areas. And it's like where I come from in California, like, being biracial, if you're multiracial, you're mixed, whatever, it was never really seen as like, there was no stigma attached to that. I don't know. Like, yeah, for sure, people will try to push that one drop rule on you and stuff like that. But when I went to other states in the South, I started to see like a huge difference is how it's like they really don't like mixed people. It's crazy, but this is life. It's a battle. You got to fight and survive. But it wasn't like, yeah, in California, like, just the stigma wasn't there. Like, if you're like, people will let you be, oh, you're mixed. Oh, a lot of people like thought it was cool. Like, I remember I was at a gym once, Planet Fitness, a few years ago, and a Mexican dude walked up to me. Mexican guy, he was like my age, normal guy, and like, and the dude looked at me, like, said something about, oh, you look like Derek Jeter. Or not Derek Jeter, sorry, pause. Derek Fisher, who played for the Lakers. A lot of people have told me that in California, oh, you look like Derek Fisher. You look like Derek Fisher. He's a Lakers basketball player, because he's bald, kind of has a goatee, kind of same facial symmetry. And this dude at the gym, Mexican dude, I remember he's telling me that, and he's like, oh, he's like, oh, you look good, you're cool, whatever, like that. And that was one other guy, and there was another guy at the bar, same Mexican dude. There's a lot of Mexicans in California, and similar kind of conversation, just random character, just talking, and then came up to be like, questioning my ambiguity. What are you? Oh, yeah, I'm mixed, white and black, biracial. He's like, oh, I wish I was that, or that's cool. Like, I don't know, in California, it was the culture, it's a lot different than other places, I feel like, in America, United States. And this lady's understands that as well. She's talking in Tulsa, I think, Oklahoma, and they have a lot of mulattoes out there as well in the area she's at. And yeah, environment's critically important. Just wanted to kind of reference that.
inescapable. And she went to join an organization at her school dedicated to the unification of Latinos on her campus. But when she went to one of their meetings, she wasn't even acknowledged as being in the room. And I don't mean that in a figurative manner. I mean that literally, because they wouldn't speak to her. So
she's talking about her friend. I think she said Filipina, if I'm not mistaken, or in a Latin group or something. But she went to a group and they didn't acknowledge her. I feel like as mulattoes, you go to these black pro whack kind of groups or whatever, because I've been to a couple on the university I attended. She's talking about these university kind of clubs, etc. And I did, but the thing is with the black groups, for me, my experience, like they want you there. They need all the numbers they can get. They're a minority in this nation. They need all the numbers so that's why they'll weaponize the one drop rule. They'll claim you. They want you a part of their group, but they want you in a designated position to be a subordinate to them. They don't want you to be above them. This is why they're slandering and trying to destroy the career of Drake with all the false allegations and all this crap. Like they're cool with Drake doing his songs and having all the hit tracks. He has way more hits than Kendrick. They're cool with Drake. They just don't want him to say that he's a number one. Like when he did that song with First Person Shooter, trying to say he's a number one, then they had to attack him. They're like, how dare you work with this other biracial guy, J. Cole, and try to act like you're the number one. See, this is what they do. They try to humble you. They're like, wait a second. You can be here with all the pro wax and all the, white ass kissers, because we know with the community, they love their white massa. So like you can be over here and be cool with us and all this crap, come to our pro whack little club. But they want you to have that subordinate position, being the worker mule. They want you to be the mule. They don't want you to think that you're the best in the room, right? Then they have an issue with that. And I've noticed this, at the university, navigating some of these circles. I was like, okay, it took me a while to kind of collect the data and figure it out. But especially when you look at this whole Drake situation, it's clear as day. And this will definitely be kind of documented. I'm from the South, and it is totally different from the West Coast. The main reason is because a lot of AAs in the South have family members who grew up in Jim Crow, and it gets passed down through generations. Yeah. Well, they're trying to bring everyone back to Jim Crow and shit. I mean, someone put a comment on one of my videos. This is on Instagram. He talked about, oh, I wish I had a time machine to take y'all back in time to Jim Crow so y'all can know your color. Like, what type of crap is that? Like, to wish, Jim Crow on you. That's so funny, man. It's so despicable and sad. Where you got people out here trying to like wish Jim Crow on you and teach you a lesson. Don't think you better than me because you mixed in light skin. You just in the same as me, really? Why is it when I'm around you people, it doesn't feel like I'm the same. It feels like I'm not the same as you. Like, I'm not going to prove myself to you people. And I already realized that, look, I'm just going to do my own shit. My own shit's going to be popping. More and more people are going to figure out. They're going to find it. They're going to realize, hey, there's this guy. He's talking my language. He's speaking my language. And it's just naturally going to grow. It's going to ascend and not descend. It's just naturally going to happen. There's just inevitable, right?
She left. All because she looks white. All because her skin is fair. And you know what the crazy part is, guys? Is that she actually looks like her mother. Like, it's copy paste. It's crazy. I mean, I marvel at it every time I see it. But they wouldn't know because they made no effort to get to know her. They saw her pale skin and chose to scorn her for it. And that is a reality that a lot of mixed people face.
And she's using this case sample with her friend who's not mulatto, right? But those people, Latinos, they have a lot of pride and nationalism. They have a lot of pride and cohesion and nationalistic pride. That's why they're excelling in this nation. They're excelling. Their numbers are growing for various reasons because corporations want, cheaper labor, and there's other, things we can get into. But a lot of other groups here are kind of upset about that. Like with Donald Trump, even I saw a news article earlier today with Joe Biden, who's going to enforce strict, immigration policy. All of a sudden, they tried to demonize Trump and be like, oh, well, Donald Trump, he's a felon. These people don't care. They're going to vote for him. They're going to support their guy. That's what they don't understand. Like the establishment, the kind of political apparatus, they can do these kind of false, slander campaigns and try to convict this guy. He has too many people who are going to ride for him. He has too many supporters, like, and people are going to show out and they're going to, put their ballot in for Trump. And that's why I saw this article today about Biden. I kind of briefly looked at it where it's like, oh, yeah, he's trying to sway the voters to be like, oh, because immigration is one of the biggest issues in this nation. And Trump is literally the guy who's very vocal about this kind of domestic policy of immigration. And even when I voted for Trump in 2016 as a single policy issue voter, because his immigration stance is literally, compared to these other characters, it's just not even, he was very, strong in his immigration stance. And that's why most people actually supported the guy, not the bull crap or, all the other dumb tweets and the other dumb crap he gets involved with, but it was mainly strictly the immigration. And so he has a lot of supporters. And so, yeah, I see the Biden thing and it's like, yeah, Biden wants to try to cross over some of these voters to support him. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But the thing is with this woman here, like with the Hispanics, like they're advancing in society. Like she's talking about this lady, her friend who's half Hispanic or half white, whatever, but she's not mulatto. Okay, you're specific, you're African and European, you're mulatto. Find other mulatto women to connect with. That's my goal. I mean, that would be my advice to her, as I would say. But the Hispanics are excelling in society, and that these other groups are hating on them. Like even the Black Americans are talking crap. Like we Aboriginals, we ADOS, and all this other bullshit. Nobody cares. These other groups are going to compete. They're coming over here. They're going to eat your lunch. And then even white Americans are upset. Like most of Trump's voter bloc, his supporters, right? With the immigrations, they see how the kind of demographics are changing. It's more Hispanics are getting influence. So yeah, those people are prideful. Okay, this is the thing. I'm from Southern California. Like they're very prideful, and a lot of them, because they have numbers, are very going to be very arrogant, and they are going to basically operate as if they are in the majority. And so they're going to gatekeep their culture. They see some woman in there who looks mostly white, who's not Hispanic. So they're going to feel some type of way about her. They're going to outgroup her. Like I said, they're not in the same desperate position as blacks, where blacks, because they're a minority, they'll accept anyone. So they'll look at a woman like her. They'll be like, yeah, you can come in. Right. And mainly the Kangs are going to want her in there. Right. Because, and so, yeah, but if it's a dude, a guy like me or Drake or something like that, they're like, oh yeah, you can come to the cookout. Yeah, you have black. We accept you. We accept you. But the stipulation is you got to be a subordinate. Do my bidding for me. And I'm one of the guys, like, I just have too much principle, integrity, and balls. I'm like, why am I even dealing with you people? What do you get? Are you going to pay me money? Are you going to dance and sing for me? What the fuck? Like, I'm not one of these punks that was raised around you, getting punked by you to just like try to fit in with you. I'm good, bro. I'm good. If you're not giving me, it's quid pro quo. Quid pro quo. Yeah. Let's get through this.
Are turned away from our own people simply because we have a foot in two worlds. We are constantly waiting for the next door to slam in our faces or for this next blow to fall. And it's really hard to come back from something like that. So can you imagine how beneficial it would be for us to see ourselves properly represented in the media?
To see ourselves properly represented in the media. And you do have these people out here. Adele James in the UK identifies as biracial. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, identifies as biracial. There's a host of others. Okay, Zoe Kravitz identifies as being mixed race. So we do have these people out here. I agree. We do need more vocal voices, especially with a young lady like Zendaya. When we're looking at her, it's like she quintessentially represents the mulatto aesthetic, like everything about her, right? She has the elegance and the class, but we need her to identify with us. I mean, she's still pushing this social justice warrior, black woman bullshit, where it's like, I want to use my light skin privilege so that black women can be represented, but it's like they don't like you. You know? They don't see themselves through you. Like, they'll use you. Yeah, they love using you, mulattoes. But it's like they're still despise you. They despise you because they need you more than you need them. You don't need them, but they need you because you are a rising majority, the mulattoes. But the blacks are a declining minority. They're already a minority. The Hispanics have already outnumbered them. Whites are the majority in America, United States. Okay. Hispanics, Latinos are number 2. And the African American ADOS, FBA, whatever you want to call it, they're number 3. Like, and and in Asians, the numbers are increasing for them. The multiracial or mulattoes, our numbers are increasing. So it's like we look at these numbers and it's like, look, they need you. You don't need them. A lot of these mulattoes haven't figured it out yet. But more of them that tune into me, listen to me, they're going to start to develop some courage, some cojones. They'll realize, oh, he's absolutely right. It's only a matter of time. It's inevitable. And this is the key thing here with this lady. I'm like, look, they don't, yeah, they need you. You don't need them. So you don't need to plead to them for anything. Just figure it out and get to work, basically.
To read an article about a marginalization, to hear a news segment about our discrimination, to watch someone be interviewed who sees the world as we do on the day-to-day, who watches everything occur with eyes like our own. All right. Now that I've given you some explanation, we're going to go back to those questions that I asked you earlier. Now, remember that confusion that you felt, just jumping straight in, no explanation? I want you to take that confusion and we're going to multiply it by 10, okay? Like, just really compound it. And then we're going to stretch it over your lifetime. However many decades you've been alive, get it out there. And you know that stress that you would feel if you felt that every day? Congratulations, you're officially a mixed person.
The issue here is that it's this kind of victimhood leverage where it's like, woe is me, congratulations, you're officially a mixed person, feel my pain. Remember, this is kind of academically charged. This, I don't know if she's at a university with this speech, Tulsa, Oklahoma, TED Talk. We know the academic realm. It's all this liberal SJW bullshit. We know that's a fact, right? I mean, the public institutions, even if they're private, you can see how it's kind of, skewed in a way where it's a lot of these universities are like pro-Palestine in a way where it's like, why is it mostly this, like this pro this one and versus pro that? Like, yeah. And I just don't like the victimhood thing. That's why I want, as a mulatto, I want to kind of critique this lady respectfully. I do like what she's doing, but I feel like just some of the language she's using and the position, her stance, it could be a little better. Like, we shouldn't position ourselves to be victims out here, trying to plead to the public, monoracial, if they're black, white, or Latino, whatever, and tell them, oh, this is what we feel. She's like talking about this timeline. This is what mixed race people feel. It's like, no, I'm living pretty good. I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good, to be honest, about my situation. I just feel like I just need to expand. I need more people who are similar like me, share my sentiments, etc., and let's start to build something. Let's fortify it, develop a fortress, develop cohesion, organizations, business, infrastructure, and let's, of course, pass it down to the next generation. Let's start to do the work, because we see the older generations, they realize it's, for them, it was easier just to serve blacks. But a lot of these younger cats, they realize that pathway is not really given to them. So they're forced to do something else that's independent, that's going to serve them, which is a good thing for us. Like I said, all this light skin hate, I posted a community, I shared a short from a guy, the angry man, earlier today. And I put that on my community post. Like, I was like, look, it's a good thing that all these people are talking shit about light skins and talking shit about Drake and hating on mixed people. It only helps increase our numbers and spread awareness. It's only benefiting me. And that's why I love doing this social media experimentation. This is a passion where it's like I can just collect this information and share it with the public, and all across the platforms, TikTok, Instagram, etc. People are like, yeah, you're right. This guy makes a valid point. When you present all the information, it's like we're going to have to force our way and develop our own situation. Yeah. Fair use.
It's rough out here. That's all I can really say, but it is how we feel every single day, which is why I raised you, the mixed children. Can you imagine how beneficial it would be for these little babies, these little mixed babies, to be able to see themselves properly demonstrated to the world, to hear their stories told?
Yeah, representation matters. They kind of did that. They tried that with the was it that guy's name? Marvin Morales, I believe, the Spider-Man. I haven't seen the movie, The Enter the Spider-Verse. He was kind of Afro Latino, I think. He was like black and Spanish or something like that. And of course the FBAs, the pro wax, were upset about that, right? Tariq and his crowd, they were upset. But of course, all like, it's funny with Tariq, he'll marry a mulatto woman, right? But then when it's a mulatto man who's being represented, then he's gonna whine. It is a typical pro whack, right? You still got mulattoes over there thinking they're safe until they get the Drake treatment. Then they're gonna run their little scared ass over here. They're gonna find my page. They're gonna act like, oh no, I wasn't over there. I wasn't on Tariq's page. I wasn't a pro whack. No, they're gonna try to pretend like, yeah, a lot of people over here that are on that, like, we all did the pro whack shit. We sympathize with these people, and they spit in our face. We're like, hey, have a good day. Go be a loser, a proud victim on your own. But the thing is, when we look at academia, this beautiful young lady here, Mia, is in academia, but she's using a lot of their nomenclature with marginalization and the stress. Mixed people get post-traumatic stress and all this stuff. And she's trying to sympathize with the public. It's like, look, that's not how groups compete in this capitalistic society. You're not going to try to play this victim game to get people to feel sorry. That's like what a lot of LGBT people do and other groups. Like, let's not do that. Let's develop our own situation, be unapologetic about it, of who we are, what we represent. That's my advice. But who am I? I'm just a guy with a microphone, internet connection, and an email address. I'm nobody special. I never claimed to be special, but a lot of people take my words to heart. I'm just giving people a voice. A lot of these mulattoes, they feel like they don't have a voice. They're stuck with the black or the white, etc. They feel like they don't have a voice. I'm giving them a voice. A lot of them, they appreciate it. And if you do appreciate it, those of you watching, as you can see, the ticker in the bottom of the screen says, thank you for watching. If you like it, hit the like button. Likes are free. It's a minimal contribution. You don't have to do anything. Just hit the like button. If you like the content, share the video with your friend. There's people out here who need this information.
Can you imagine how cathartic it would be for them to be able to go, I've heard that and I've seen that and I've been called things like that before. I've been hurt like that before. And I know in the small doses that I've had it, proper representation helped me come to terms with my own history and my own family.
And what I often tell people is the representation matters. Representation matters. Let me get this back up here. She got Trevor Noah. Who else does she got up here?
At it. Proper representation helped me come to terms with my own history and my own family.
Trevor Noah. Yeah. Other groups get an ego boost from that whining. I don't understand how it's an ego boost. Like, how are you proud to be a Because you see, like with the black nationalists and the white nationalists, they mirror each other because they both act like victims in this nation, right? Now, the white nationalists will blame the Jews for their shortcomings, and the black nationalists will blame the white man, and then they'll also blame us mulattoes as a proxy, saying the white man's using us to undermine blacks, where the white nationalists are saying the Jews are using the blacks to undermine mulattoes. They're saying that, oh, the Jews are encouraging the blacks in miscegenation to create mulattoes, to dilute whites. And like, so they both have mirror philosophies, the white nationalists and black nationalists. But what you said here is true, where it's this proud victim shit. It's this proud victim shit there. And I'm trying to tell, I listened to this woman, Mia Ward. I'm like, look, okay, I applaud her for publicly speaking here, but we got to step away from the victim stuff. We have unique challenges, but there's a lot of us out here now. Like, we're just all over the place now. Even Jasmine Guy said that. I shared this the other day on one of my streams, or a week ago, whatever. About, it's like, I look around when I travel, like, there's a lot of us out here now. Like, there's enough of us. We're a sizable population. We can get stuff going. It doesn't make sense where we have to plead to people to feel sorry for us. For feel sorry for what? Like, we already have it good. You look at us, like, we already look good. A lot of us are in a high position. We have access to jobs. Other populations, it's not the same. Like I was talking about with colored people, and I'm gonna revisit this topic with the colored people in South Africa, where a gentleman was telling me about one of the with the black government in South Africa and how they're discriminating against colored people, giving them access to jobs in order to just open blatant discrimination. And so that's a big challenge that they have out there. And even when I did my stream about South African colored, I talked about how it's like, well, I don't really see the discrimination against us for jobs as mulattoes, because we can get like all these jobs are available to us in this open market. But once we get the job, a lot of us, we face workplace discrimination. And that's because a lot of times we're outnumbered in this society. And we see the groups, the blacks, they work with the whites, their white massa, to discriminate against us and attack us. And a lot of these mulattoes are too pussy and coward to admit that this is what's really going on. These other groups are involved as well. Hispanics, because Hispanics, they study blacks intimately. They listen to all their hip hop. And so they know that, oh, yeah, these blacks are putting a target on the back of the mulattoes and the light skins and all this shit. These other groups, they study these blacks. So they already know it's easy to basically get come up off them. Isn't that why they cry about like these other groups like Asians setting up businesses in their communities and making money off them, but they still go to this store? And that's when I turned in my 2-week notice, right? I think someone had that analogy, like the 2 weeks, turn in your 2-week notice to the pro blacks. When I saw all these people lined up to give these, Chinese and Asian people their money at these stores, I was like, yeah, you people can't be saved. You can't be saved. I mean, like when people are openly discriminating against you and all the political turmoil and all this stuff, and you're still lined up to give them your money, I'm like, I can't relate to you people, man. I got too much pride. People can't disrespect me and expect me to like do business with them and mess with them. I'm like, man, I'm out of here. But that's just a whole nother scenario there.
Having acclaimed actor and comedian Trevor Noah and the late actor Cameron Boyce helped me better understand my family's dichotomy and hearing them talk about their own family stories. And watching shows like Mixed Dish with my family helped us better empathize with each other, because we got to sit on the couch every week and watch the Johnson family's plights unfold as not only a family of biracial children, but a family with an interracial couple in the 80s, where families like that were rarely accepted. We got to consider difficulties that we hadn't yet considered for one another up until that point.
A TV show. I've never seen one episode of that show, mixed-ish or black-ish. I don't know if I will. I saw Colin Kaepernick had a Netflix series called like Black and White. I believe that was the title of it. I saw like one or two episodes. I got bored and I tuned out. I just feel like a lot of these shows are not really well written for us. They're written through a kind of social justice warrior liberal lens to kind of get mixed people to be adjacent to blackness and to kind of fit in. And like you find that in these mixed spaces. Like I wanted to point out to the guy, shout out to Toenail Breaker. I haven't seen his presence and comments, and I don't know what's up with him, but shout out to him, man. When I first started, like before I even uploaded the video, I was on a panel with this guy. And after I jumped off the panel, he subscribed to my channel. And that was like, to me, probably the most proud, like subscriber, I think. I was so proud of that moment because I was just on a panel talking. And like, as soon as I jumped off the panel, ended the stream, I got a notification that he subscribed to me. I didn't have any videos uploaded, you know. I was just talking on the panel, and I had like 2 or 3 subscribers, whatever, and like he subscribed. I was like, oh shit, there's a mulatto guy that like wants to hear me. That like he subscribed to my channel, and like that was an indication that he actually wants to hear what I have to say. And he's older than me, more accomplished. I think he works in the medical field. He's very articulate, more articulate than me. I'm surprised he doesn't upload content, but whatever, that's his path. And I don't know where I was getting off with that, but it's like yeah, I kind of went off right there.
We hadn't yet considered for one another up until that point.
Yeah, like with the whole like the content and like the mixed experience, like I wasn't gonna watch any of these shows. Like they don't tell our story for us, and that's the issue. And they take a specific lens. What I want to say with Toenail Breaker, okay, is that he made a point a year ago. He said what we're gonna see now going forward in the next several years is the mulattoes who identify as being mulatto versus the mulattoes who identify as being black. And you see it all over social media, not just YouTube, but on Instagram, Facebook, and on TikTok. And I saw a post earlier today from another character who is mulatto, but he's anti-mulatto, which is very despicable. But there are people out there like that who are broke, who are defeated, conquered, and they hate the rest of us. They look at the rest of us as being privileged, and they're envious and jealous of the rest of us, and they want to destroy us as a group. And they want to do that to serve blacks in a way where it's even they themselves are subordinate to black people, right? Because they're mixed or they're light skinned, so the dark skinned black men punk them and cuck them. And it's like the mixed women can see that these guys are weak. And so the mixed women want the strength. They want the guys who project strength. And it's like, yeah, you have these black identified mixed guys, and you have the mulatto identified mulatto guys. And it's like, this is what you see right now. And Toenail Breaker, basically prophesized that a year ago. He's been spot on in his analysis as far as I'm concerned, because this is precisely what you see. But yeah, let me continue on.
And I'll be forever grateful for that. And guys, having forms of media like this prove that it's not an impossible ask to have representation like this. Progress has occurred, and surely it can occur again. And what it comes down to for me is mindset. And per the Stanford report, mindset can be defined as the assumptions that we make about ourselves, our lives, and the world around us.
Like I said, I'm basically applauding this lady and congratulating her. I don't know if I have a soundbite for the applaud. Congratulating. I don't think I have it. But, like I said, I appreciate this woman. Someone shared this with me. I was like, let me talk about this. Because it's very critical. And she talked about she said multiracial discrimination. That's very important. Like, we have to have the conversation has to be out there because we have to document. We see people. Like, what I'm going to do, I'm going to share, I'm going to make a video. There is a lot going on right now, like with this YouTuber named Chrissy, and another YouTuber named Exoticals United. Now, of course, I'll briefly say the Exoticals United exotical kind of concept kind of spawned from the BWE, which is Chrissy kind of sector, because the black women there are racist. They're anti-mixed, anti-white woman, black racist. And so a lot of the mixed women, especially the ones that have white moms, or mixed women just in general, they felt excluded and kicked out of those spaces. So they're essentially forced to create their own, which is a blessing in disguise that they have to embrace. And they're doing it, and they're doing good. And but I saw it recently with the back and forth. I went over to that Chrissy, watched her stream she did the other day, and I'm seeing these comments, and I'm seeing all this anti-mulatto, anti-biracial comments. So you know me, I'm like a hawk. I don't care if you're a black guy or a black woman. If you open up your stupid fucking mouth about mulattoes, I'm going to screenshot it, document it, report it, and I got a file on your ass. And so I've seen some comments that people were doing, and I'm like, yes, that's more information. That's going to help strengthen our case. This is what we need. We need these receipts. We need this evidence in real time to strengthen our case. A lot of people are sleeping. They think it's just a joke. Oh, I'm just making a joke and all this stuff, and that's fine. Okay, yeah. But you got other people out here who are not really joking around when we see the slander, the defamation, and the racial hate, because they want to be able to talk about racism all day, every day, right? That's kind of their badge of honor. But when other people point the finger and say, hey, wait a second, you're a little uppity out here. You're out of line out here. All of a sudden, people don't want to hear that talk. But I'm going to post a video about that. So just want to throw that disclaimer there.
And if we start looking at things in a more holistic manner, if we start having conversations about race where we no longer just focus on the extremes, but those gray areas in between, a trickle down is going to occur. Bit by bit, we can create much more inclusive conversations so that people like me aren't left out of the equation. Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between.
Okay, so Val puts, she looked black, BW, 100% black, and not exotic to anyone in the United States. But the thing is, we know that the black women, a lot of them, they suffer from self-hate, right? And they'll bleach their skin, they'll wear wigs, and they'll wear contacts, right? I see dark-skinned black women with like blue contacts and wigs and shit. It's like they want I'm not saying all, just saying there's a lot of them who want any angle to be something else that's like not quite black. Like the guys, the males do the same crap with these FBA pro wax. They're calling themselves Hebrew Israelites. They're calling themselves Aboriginals and Indigenous. It's the same crap with these defeated, conquered slaves. Like they want to be anything else but black. So like that, now that you've guys developed this whole mixed space and multiracial and golden and all this other gay shit with exoticals, you've given them an opportunity to basically escape their blackness. Like, oh, I'm golden too. Yeah, both of my parents are black. I got negative 15%, non-black blood, but I'm still, I'm mixed just like you, right? Like, like this is what it is. Like the same thing with the exoticals. That's for the females, okay? But the golden sphere, the golden sewer, I'm an MGM. Both of my parents are mixed, and look at my DNA results. I'm like 15% non-black. Okay, so you're a black person with admixture. You're not the same as a mulatto. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, bro. Like, not over here on my side. Okay. Some of these people, see, because if you let them play that game with you, they'll take it. We know that they have a lot of self-hate. the males and the women. So if you give them an opportunity to say that there's something else, that they're not really quite black, they're going to jump on it and take it. And that's what I've always been against with these, within these kind of spaces, where I'm kind of the kind of extreme one, so to speak, where I'm like, look, you got a black mom or a white mom, and vice versa. You're mulatto, you're biracial. Do you identify with us? Or if you're both of your parents are mulatto, etc., you got some admixture, okay, that's fine. But do you identify with us? And then, of course, if I see you and, I hear your testimonies, I kind of analyze the situation. It's like, okay, yeah, this is one of ours. That's how I'm pretty straightforward with that. I feel like there's less room for ambiguity there. But there's always going to be people jumping up in here trying to kind of blur the lines and kind of broaden a group. Like there's some guy who's trying to, combine the terms mulatto and grift together. And it's like, look, I'm not for that. I mean, I know you'll try to keep pushing that to my audience and people here, but I'm not doing that. Like someone who's a griff is not the same as someone who's mulatto. There's actually a couple guys who tried to push that category. And it's like, I'm sorry to say it, guys. And these are two gentlemen. I'm not doing that over here. Like you can start your own channel and you can, provide your data and all that stuff, and that's fine. But over here with the audience that I've developed, it's like, no, I'm not doing this whole, mulattoes and grifts are all the same. No, they're not. Okay.
I don't say this lightly. I'm no optimist. But that is a world where I know we can consider each other to be truly complex, not just in personality, but down to our family history, down to our race and ethnicity. And that is a world where I know where people like me, the people who have feet in multiple worlds, can be accepted by every single one.
Feet in multiple worlds, but can be accepted by every single one. So she's pleading and begging to the public to accept me. Look at me as a normal person, or I'm just like you. And you look at her, beautiful hair, like she's unique. Like, why do you want their acceptance? You're exceptional. You're special. Now, there's some women, they'll use terms like exotical or whatever, it's whatever. But I'm looking at this woman here, Mia. It's like, well, you don't need their acceptance. There's a lot of people, a lot of women and men who are just like you. Like, you don't need their acceptance. I think that's the issue that we fall into, is with this proud victim stuff, altruism, where we're trying to get acceptance from other people. There's enough of us now, we can kind of work shit out amongst our own. And this is across the pond as well. I mean, I got Pardos in Brazil, and I got coloreds in South Africa. I got mulattoes in the UK and Canada. So it's like, the internet is connected us all together. So it's not just domestically United States. Interesting. Very, very interesting.
That they stand in. Thank you.
That's it. I've been here for an hour. Let me see. I'll drop the link. I don't know if anybody else. I got some people up in here. If you guys want to jump up here, be my guest. Be my guest. You said from India. Extensions straight here from India. The Indian women got nice hair. Yeah, the Indian women, very attractive. A lot of them brown skin, silky, long black hair, thick black eyebrows. They have more Indian people in like the UK versus America, but the ones that I've seen here in the States, I would put them, basically on par with other, groups of women as far as the attraction, if they have the femininity. But as far as phenotypically the looks, like, yeah, the Indian women are popping for sure. There's a bunch of exotical channels. I don't know if it's on purpose, but those try to sound like babies. Yeah, that's fucking weird. I don't know what that's all about. I did see something referenced on that. There was one channel they're using like a voice changer or something. Yeah, that's pretty disgusting. I don't get it. But the whole thing is with the exotical. Like I said, they basically spawned from Chrissy. The black women kicked their asses out of the black spaces, which is a blessing in disguise. They can do their own thing. Okay. What I'm saying is like they basically brought in the group. They'll bring in black women. Okay, because they want the numbers, they want to grow their space. I get it. And but they never cam up. Like they're not on camera. Like we don't know what the hell they look like and all this shit. So I'm sitting there like, well, like the real ones out here aren't going to take you seriously. I mean, you can get your bag, you can grow your channel. It's all good. I don't care. But like realistically, like for the men, the guys who are fighters, like they only there was one guy they had who was a simp who you know, he went fucking ballistic and crazy. This is before I kind of entered in the space. But I always looked at him as kind of like a mark. Like he'd follow underneath women. One particular woman, you know. And he never cammed up, never was on camera, you know, but he wanted to talk all this shit. And yeah, and I always noticed like whenever this woman would jump on a panel, he would be right there with her, and then she would jump off the panel, he would jump off, just like a fucking mark, like on some punk shit. And I told one of the guys behind the scenes about that too. Was like, look at how this guy moves. Like this is some simp shit where it's like some of these guys are so desperate where like they're following women, and you don't understand like how bad that looks as a man. I don't, you know, I just I don't operate like that. But some of these guys like you run into on the internet, it's just so bad. Like the need for the female validation. Because if you're just a dude, you just do your work, put your work out there, people are gonna like what you're doing. Like naturally, people are gonna gravitate to what you're doing. I don't know. For me, it's been pretty simple and basic. It doesn't matter whatever I'm doing. This little internet kind of experimentation or whatever I'm doing outside of YouTube, I've been pretty successful at getting people to kind of navigate towards my social media. I see some of them in curly haired wigs trying to act like they're mixed. Their thing is comparing themselves to the obese black women with wide noses. They're skinny black women versus fat ones. That's basically all of their arguments. Those channels are narcissist black women pretend to be biracial because being mixed is a flex in their shit community. In the black community, is being mixed a flex if you're a woman. And that's what I think is like because if you're a man, being mixed is not really a flex in the black community. That's why a lot of mixed guys end up going elsewhere. And they talk shit and complain about mixed guys getting like white women, which a lot of these mulattoes, I would say a lot of them, they got white wives, right? Especially today's environment, or Latino wives. I know my brother as well, but it's like, what do you expect? Like we already know, like with the mulatto guys, like look what they're doing to Drake. I mean, and they're going so like far and deep with this Drake hate, where they're trying to destroy this man's credibility. They're all these allegations they're throwing at him. Like I can't forgive any of these people when they're not providing any concrete examples. It's all just allegations. And they're trying to, but see, it's because he's a biracial man that's dominating them in their own endeavor. This is literally the price you pay when you deal with these savages. This is what they're going to do to you. They're going to try to destroy you if you're a man, if you're a biracial man. See, but it works out differently if you're a female. See, someone like a Mariah Carey who literally looks white, she's more so white than black. And then with her, they're basically like, okay, your pathway to kind of a safety net to operate in their community is okay. Then they want to basically bastardize her. Then Nick Cannon, he'll make, Mariah Carey baby mama number 7, right? And then all the blacks like, oh, it's all cool. Nick Cannon, he's cool personality. It's all good. No problem. That's the culture. It's all good. But then Mariah Carey, they'll try to invalidate her and all this crap. But it's like, that's the pathway where they give to the lady. It's like, look, let us make you a bastard baby maker. I want you to become a baby mama with your black kids, or For her, it's funny because her kids don't even look black. Some of these mulattas, you look at them, yeah, and they got black kids. It's like, yeah, there you go. That's your pathway. You're part of the crew, the group, the club, right? That's the rites of passage for them to have pookies, illegitimate kids. But for the man, the pathway is not the same. And Drake is finding that out. Even though we helped them all out, he helped out all these Bantus, gave him record deals, and let them open for his show. He helped Kendrick Lamar get a white audience, right? Because Drake audience is primarily white, not black. And it's like he helped all these rappers like ASAP Rocky and these guys get this white audience, and this is how they repay him. Of course, no good deed goes unpunished. They say the 4C hair woman are jealous of their nappy but slightly less nappy hair texture. Most mulattoes have very self-loathing, graveling attitude. Why would you say most? The link is dropped. You can jump up here and talk your shit if you wish. I'd love to hear why you think that is. Because you're generalizing mulattoes. And I'm interested. I mean, I generalize mulattoes all the time, but thing is, I show my face. I'm up here talking my shit, being like, yeah, most of these mulattoes are fucking punks. They're on their knees, sucking off Bantus, trying to get acceptance from them. Yeah, I talk my shit, but you guys can see me, right? This is why I feel kind of a level of, yeah. I'll just leave it at that. Blacks love Asian hair. But yeah, it's perverse in a weird way. I think it's because black women are seen as more masculine. Well, I mean, the culture, they act more masculine. They're not just seen as that way. I mean, come on. Look at all these female rappers. You got Greg the Stallion, the dude Greg, right? And even, Nicki Minaj. Like, you listen to like their songs and how they talk and like their bravado. They want to literally act like fucking dudes out here. The Princilla, the stud maker, who's a YouTube personality. Like, what other personalities? You got a lot of these women, they got vaginas, but they act like dudes, like a dude with a vagina. And it's like, what do you expect, So they try to accentuate feminine traits to disassociate from other black women. It's comedy when they post half pictures. I can't tell any difference between them and the dark-skinned women. The skin color with one level difference hair texture, but both kinky and large facial features. Their videos are too controversial to show their face. Really? You think I'm like the most controversial person when it comes to mixed topics? There's nobody more controversial than me. Nobody. They have jobs and lives to protect. Yeah, what are their jobs? Being a fucking OnlyFans hooker. They will be stalked by all the crazy, yeah, black women, right? Sure, I guess. I don't think so. Yeah. But you put here that their videos are too controversial to show their faces. Yeah, right. I've listened to some of these videos. Even shout out to Exoticals United. I watched her video she uploaded today. Like I said, I don't agree. I unsubscribed from her, but because of this Chrissy, because of all the misandry this woman's talking shit on just random men, trying to make a buck, grifting the women on her channel because she's mad she got divorced or her ex stopped wanting to pay for her ass, and now she has to grift off YouTube and there's all the whatever, just the whole misandry shit. Like I'm not down with the misandry. And I'm not going to sit here and complain and argue. I'm just going to unsubscribe and do something else. But with this whole Chrissy thing, look, like I said, I went over to her channel, Chrissy's channel, and I'm looking at all this anti-mulatto like propaganda, all these commenters and stuff. And I'm going to make a video about this because these characters, these people, okay, the perpetual victim class, they literally think they have a right to be racist towards mulattoes because they've been done so bad in America, and they literally feel like they have a right to be racist towards you. And so you say right here, their videos are too controversial. Nobody's more controversial than me. Like, I'm surprised I'm still up here. People report my shit. It's funny. I've had it's all these other mulattoes with their black baby daddies and their bastard kids. Those are the ones who kind of report my shit because they serve the Bantus against mulattoes, right? And it's like people report my shit all the time. They flag my stuff, report me. Yeah. And I'm up here public, you know. So it's like, how are they more controversial? I listen to these women, their videos, like all they're doing is like trolling black women. And most of these women are black anyways themselves. They're barely like admixed, talking about hair and shit. Like, or like, what do you mean? Like these women are too controversial. You capitalize too. No, the hell they're not. I mean, you listen to my choice of words. People say I'm racist, I'm anti-black, or white supremacist talking points. Okay, you can kiss my ass. I mean, I got the link dropped. It's funny, nobody jumps up here and challenges because you know I will cook your ass. I'm not saying you, modern Shakespeare, but one of these pro-wax or black nationalists or whatever, these dumb little trolls, or even these punk-ass mulattoes who are serving the Bantus. None of them hit the link. None of them hit the link. So it's funny, like I got it dropped, but it's like, how are they? Nobody's more controversial than me. There's a reason why I word everything specifically. Not really technically a shock jock, but the message I add emphasis, it has to get across. I don't want this. It's not for everybody. There's a high level of exclusivity in what I'm doing. And like I said, I'm going to take it back to Toenail Breaker. What you see now is the mulattoes who identifies mulatto versus the mulattoes who identify as black. That's what you see. Yet they're pretending they are mixed, and dark-skinned black women hate them for being mixed. They aren't mixed. They're black women who look different from other black women. True, I haven't seen an exotical male channel. Well, because men aren't exotical. If you're a man and you call yourself exotical, I mean, you know, all the women they claim Drake assaulted came out and said Drake has never done anything wrong to them. Zero proof. It's all allegations. And that's the thing. Like, you can't take that's why if they'll do that to Drake, they'll do that to any of you guys, anybody. They're going to do that. They'll do that to anybody because you're biracial. If you're a biracial man who dares to not identify with the perpetual victim class, like, they're not going to be too happy about you. And they're going to be plotting and scheming against you. This is literally how it works. Though they're not going to, it doesn't matter. Like, they can't win. There's nothing to say or do. Like with Drake, he's already goated. He's undefeated. Like, it's crazy because you look at a guy like Angry Biracial, and we know the history of him. Criminal history, criminal past, like fake, like he pretended to serve the military and lied about that. Like his rap sheet's pretty long with all the criminal shit he's done. And he's been exposed by multiple YouTubers with large platforms. Yet the Angry Biracial is still growing. His fan base is still growing. He still has followers. So it's like, I look at that and I'm like, if you can try to destroy that man, yet he's growing, still growing, he's able to sell products to these people and shit. It's like, what the fuck are you going to do to anybody else if the Angry Biracial is still thriving out here and you tried to slander him? I don't like Angry Biracial. Okay, he's a piece of shit. He lied on me and tried to make up false allegations, just like we're doing to Drake. Angry Biracial, because that's what they do to try to destroy their competition. They make like false allegations and shit. Angry Biracial did that to me, but I'm like, the guy's like, people like already exposed him, thoroughly exposed him, but he's still growing, getting momentum, has followers. I don't know what his sub count is right now, but last time I checked, he was over 20,000 or 30,000 subs. So I'm like, what the hell? It doesn't matter what the hell you say about the guy. People are still going to listen, tune in, subscribe, and support. So, it's a interesting situation. What's up?
Hello. Kind of surprised to see you going live. I guess you go live more now than ever. I don't know. I'm technically not on YouTube. Even though I have a channel on YouTube, I don't waste my time on YouTube. And it's not just because of
why is that?
Yeah. Oh, well, well, number one, I lay it out in my video on my old channel, which is now defunct, the Al Show. So people can go to that video and check that out, even though I don't do content anymore. I don't spend time because, number one, I'm in the over a year I was a content creator on YouTube. I never saw anything positive or beneficial for content creators here. I think the glory days of YouTube, where YouTube made stars out of people, which did happen, it made kind of its own stars and insignificant people, mostly entertainment related. Those days are gone. You had demonetization come along and the monetization crisis. And they started, taking that away. That's why people went to stuff like Patreon. Um, Also, because I don't know if I'm going to get censored by YouTube. I know you said that you had lives shut down when you were on TikTok. So I don't know if they'll do that here, but the reality is YouTube plays favorites. It's very political. I don't mean partisan political. I mean political in regards to who they favor in terms of content creators and channels and who they don't. And what I saw was, because I'm observing this, when I appeared on a panel, when I saw other channels, when I was looking at that, now I just look at the content on YouTube. But once I saw it, I went, this is a mess. It's a mess for the content creator. It's a mess for people who are trying to create videos and do it. That's why in my video, I'll give a little of it away here. I say, unless you're a professional or unless you've got some hobby or interest or a business or something along that line, you shouldn't have a YouTube channel producing content. It's not worth it. If you're not one of the people that I mentioned, and you can check out my video on my now defunct channel, Al Show. There's still a few videos there, but my last video is about that, addresses that, why people should leave YouTube. But if you're not one of those people, the only reason that I have a channel on YouTube, and it's my official channel as a writer, the only reason I do is promotion and marketing of my writing work on my writing outlets. And that's the reason why. That's it. YouTube is, and outside of what I just mentioned for content creators, there's some people making money on YouTube, but basically you make the money through sponsorships, commercials, all that stuff. What companies are sponsoring your videos and all that, all your what do they call it? All your other ancillary things that come from that.
And the thing is with that, you don't have to be monetized in order to get those type of sponsorships as well.
Right, but that's the only way you're going to make money. The monetization, it used to be people could make pretty decent money at one point from YouTube. It wasn't just sponsorships. It wasn't just doing the commercial. Now, in the past, I don't know how many years, you're not making a lot through AdSense, right? So that's how people are making the money. They're going out and they're doing it. They're building these channels. They're building their audiences so they can attract these companies.
Yeah.
And again, YouTube wants to be corporate friendly. That's the future. This is going to be a corporate-owned, corporate subsidiary. A lot of these channels, I've said this to people before, I'll say it again, a lot of these channels are going to be gone.
Yeah.
I got to be brutally honest. They will be gone.
Channels.
I could bet money. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, like, these race-based channels, even mine, like, of course. Like, I never started this.
Not just that. Not because those are controversial, right? Yeah. Or they can be. I'm talking about other stuff as well. They're just going to get rid of what I call the basic YouTube, which is anybody can get any channel, mom and pop, what I call mom and pop versus big corporate or company or whatever.
Well, all the major corporations have YouTube channels, even networks like Warner Brothers, even these big production networks, they have YouTube channels here as well. Like Warner Brothers, I subscribe to them. So like all the major sports productions like NFL or UFC, they all have YouTube.
Right. And you have YouTube TV too, because they produce stuff for their own TV side of the ledger. and they're attracting broadcasting, right? You got the NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube.
Yeah, right.
They've got YouTube.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know what else they're going to bring to YouTube, right? But what I'm saying is the future of YouTube
They had
is it will be like another broadcast entity.
it already is like
And
that.
yeah, and
Because
channels like this will be gone.
because the
I'm
thing is
telling people now. Go ahead.
because they have like videos sharing now, like a Tubi or Netflix. They have YouTube, they recycle, or they have a cycle of different videos they have here with some ads.
Mhm.
And also they have their own series. Like I think they had the Cobra Kai, which is like the Karate Kid
Yeah,
kind of
like I
spin
said,
off.
they make their
They
own
had that on
story. They
YouTube.
make their own content. Yeah,
Check this
YouTube
out.
TV. They make their own content. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
look at this comment here. It says black identified mulattoes, what you call the wannabes, often self-loathe because they want to be something they inherently aren't. Mulattoes who accept who they are truly do not self-loathe. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't even want to get into self-loathing people. One of the reasons I'm that I got away from YouTube is there are people I just don't want to be around. And if you're not doing anything, not just the people that are, whether it's self-loathing biracials or self-loathing anyone else, I just find that if you're not productive, something that George Lucas said, I'll state, they're the creators and the destroyers. And he said he preferred to be with the creators. And that's been my take. I prefer to create and I prefer to be around creators, not content creators. But really, the term I use is content producers, but content creators. So I'm just telling people now, I guess YouTube's okay compared to like what you told me about TikTok. They stopped a live of yours because I guess they found it offensive or something. I don't know what happened.
Well, what happens is people can, when you go live, people can just report your live. They have a report, like a flag emoji. They can flag it down and report it. And I think TikTok automatically sides with the users who report it. I don't know their parameters of how many people report it, but you could just be talking. Someone doesn't like what you say. They can report it, and then TikTok automatically like takes their side and shuts it down. No questions asked. It's very fickle and weird.
It may be just like a reaction automatically built into the system where it's like, they just do it, so they don't have to deal with
no
complaints.
Warnings.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point? What's the point? If anybody can just jump on your live and just like hit a button and get it canceled, like what's the hell is the point to like,
I never done a live on TikTok. Yeah, that's the weird thing. I never done a live on TikTok. But the thing about TikTok I will say is this. It's been a great, because I returned to TikTok after I left YouTube. And it's been tremendous. The amount of views I get per video, far and above anything on YouTube. Their algorithm really does seem to go further for videos. Now, I've never done a live on TikTok because I don't really have a need to do lives. The only time I do a live is my show outro on my official channel. So, my official channel, I do promos, I do promo videos, and I have my series outro, which is promoting interviews I've done on podcasts or talk shows or any kind of show I'm on. That's the only reason that I'm there. I use it like every other platform. I go on Facebook, I promote. I go on Twitter, I promote. But Twitter's a different story. I can't promote my Substack there. So
is it Writer Al?
Yeah, that's my official channel. My official channel
TikTok?
is no,
TikTok.
not on TikTok. Oh yeah. No, on TikTok it's at Imperious Reader.
Oh, Imperious Reader.
Yeah. And for those who don't understand what that is, that's a Battlestar Galactica reference.
Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. I love the rebooted version of Battlestar Galactica.
I'm gonna give you some
I don't mind
free promotion. Some free promotion. You see this?
So yeah, oh, That must be. Oh, is that? Yeah, that's my official channel.
Look at
That's
look at
my
these views.
official writing channel.
850 views, 770 for a
Yep.
simple video clip. Yeah, the views are
Yep.
much more favorable over there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
800
stunning.
views, 790, more than YouTube, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know what your videos get. What do your videos get on TikTok?
I can go to it. I think I averaged like
You must
1,000.
be at least 1,000. Yeah. I'm thinking you must be 1,000.
Let's check it out.
Over 1,000. Yeah. You've got to be over 1,000.
Something like that.
Yeah. It's been terrific over there. And I'll
This one got 52,000 views,
yeah,
2,000, 400,
I'm not
300, 500, 2,500, close to that.
do you
400,
have how
600,
many
900.
how many
Yeah.
followers do you have?
770.
Okay, so you have a good number of followers. See, I have a small number of followers. I have less than 100, but my videos have gotten over 600 views, over 700.
It's a hit or miss. I don't know. It's weird. It just depends. Like,
It's interesting to me. Like I said, I do far better on TikTok than I ever did on YouTube. And for some reason, I think the algorithm doesn't discriminate over there. On YouTube, it discriminates.
oh yeah,
I'll be honest. Whether you are biracial, multiracial, or monoracial, it discriminates. Like I said, they play favorites here on YouTube.
yeah, they do.
Play favorites here. Yeah,
Yep.
it's not fair. It's a loaded deck, and the house is rigged on YouTube. It really is. And I mean, I guess it's okay. They won't swoop in and cut me off right now, but which is pretty good. But yeah, it's a loaded deck. But I don't think they care. You know why? Because YouTube wants the corporate dollar. They don't care about guys like me or other people. They want that corporate dollar. So they don't care what I say about them. It's irrelevant.
Yeah,
Because that's the future for them.
yeah. It's only pennies. It's just pennies.
Right. So that's one of the things I would say to you. It seems like your videos are doing very well on TikTok.
Well, they're decent for the stand. I mean, I don't put any effort into it. I mean, the whole thing with the social media is I just want to connect with other people and talk to other, mixed people. So, like, I'm not putting that much effort into it. But the amount of
turn on your phone or turn on your laptop, turn on the camera, record, put it out, and yet it gets good number of views. I'm getting good views, and I don't even have 100 followers on TikTok. I want to repeat that. I do not have 100 followers on TikTok, but videos have often averaged over 600, over 700 views. I had a couple videos that made over 1,000. In fact, I had one video where it's promoting my article on Daddy Casolero and the octopus. Made over 2,000 views.
What about the engagement, though, as far as like the comments and the engagement? Right?
You know what? For me, I'm not a real comment guy.
Okay.
I get some comments. I don't really. I actually prefer people not to comment. I don't need people to respond that way. I put it out and
I feed off.
Yeah, I don't need it.
I feed off. I do. That's why I'm very kind of thought provoking and provoking with my choice of words.
Because you gotta because okay.
Yeah. Well, I was saying I want people to comment and I want the engagements critical because the whole idea is to get people involved in the discussion. I can bounce ideas off of people and learn as well. Like people share information and I post, and I can reply and post a video about that. And I just get like I'm able to continue to build off of the public's kind of engagement. I can build off.
Yeah,
of that.
we'll see, but that's a part of your. How do I put it? That's a part of what I used to call brand on YouTube. That's your brand. It's action reaction. So you say things and you want people to react to what you say. I say things. I'm fine with the views. And if I get, um, likes or whatever, that's fine. But
Yeah.
the reality is that it's really for me about just putting it out there. And like I said, I always, for me, it's about other platforms and doing other things. See, with the stuff that's gone on, when I was in the biracial spaces here on YouTube, I had a pretty good time. It was fine. I didn't really, there were a couple of rotten eggs, at least two or three. I won't mention names, but for the most part, I had very good conversations with people, very good discussions, and I enjoyed it. Right. But unfortunately, in YouTube in general, there's a lot of sewer. There's a lot of open sewers on YouTube. There's a lot of runoff. There's a lot of shadiness and sleaziness and nastiness that goes on YouTube. Now, that may happen on TikTok. I don't know. I kind of make my videos on TikTok and I leave, so I don't hang around on TikTok other than to see, was there a response to something that I put out, or someone following me or whatever. And so that's what I see in regards to YouTube. It really is like, it's just too much of that going on. Like you mentioned, that guy, the angry guy. Like, again, I look at people like that and some others. It's like, that's the problem with YouTube. It's just too many people like that. They need to get jobs or something. I don't know. Or maybe that's why they're on YouTube, because they can't get jobs. I don't know what they're doing. As far as I'm concerned, you know, I'm busy doing other things because I see YouTube as kind of a waste of time. So today I was just recording my new podcast. So, and putting that out. So, you know, eh, and of course, I've been busy promoting starting a new film Substack and promoting my Substack, and writing articles and putting them out there, and putting content out there, and doing other things, right? And when I look at some of the people that you mentioned before, I got to be honest. I don't know what these people do with their lives. I don't know. I mean, I know you do this on YouTube, but I'm sure you have other things you do. Like, I don't know what these other people who, who of course you mentioned, I don't even know what they do in terms of their lives, to be honest with you. And I think that's a problem. All I know is, even though I'm retired technically from journalism and freelancing, I'm still a writer. It's my 30th anniversary of being a writer in more than a month. And I'm still writing, and I'm still putting stuff out there, and I'm still, you know, keeping myself busy and working on things in a holistic way. And that's one of the things I would say for mixed race people, biracial, mulatto. It's like, outside of the issues or problems, what's your career? What's your job? What are your hobbies? It's important to have a good career, or have a job you like, or have even hobbies or interests you like, and do those, and focus on that, right? I think that's really important, because I only saw a little of the video beforehand because I was too busy uploading my new podcast episode. So I don't really know entirely what the young lady said in the video, but I
Well,
heard a little of it.
we have a commenter here who's basically asking you the question: do you have anything to say about the topic at hand, the marginalization of mulatto people? Now, my whole position is, like, I agreed with the lady Well, what I agreed with is the fact what I say is I applaud and I commend her effort using her
Mhm.
voice on that platform, TED Talk, to spread awareness for multiracial discrimination. Now, my whole thing is I don't really like the victimhood stance where she's trying to position herself to kind of, sympathize with the public in a way to where it's like where she's talking about acceptance, where it's like we need to accept ourselves first and we shouldn't be positioning ourselves as being victims. That's my position, but other people would beg to differ. What's your thoughts
Well,
on that?
again, promoting acceptance is a necessary thing when it comes to mixed race people, biracial, multiracial people, because there's a lot of rejection. So that's what you got to keep in mind. You have to understand what little I did hear about it, because again, I was too busy with, finishing my other tasks for the day, getting my new podcast out there. Um, you got to keep in mind that a lot of people want to fit in. And when I say fit in, I don't mean fit in with a specific ethnic group or racial group, but fit in into society as a whole, fit in the community, the larger community as a whole. And so acceptance is important for them, you know, but, and biracial, you got to keep this in mind. Biracial people have always been victims. They're victims of oppression from the people that run the society. They're victims of the one drop rule. They're victims of the laws that have been passed, like the Racial Integrity Act in 1924, I guess about 100 years or close to 100 years ago. They're victims of racism from other people, not only in their family, but outside of their family in the community. The question is not whether people are victims, but what do they do as victims? What do you do? Right? What are you focusing on? See, that's why I'm saying it's important to have all these other things in your life and not just focus on racism and discrimination, right? Although racism and discrimination and all that may be factors even when it comes to your career and work and all that. But it's important to have a holistic life, an organic life, in the sense that you have other things you're doing like everyone else, and you're not stuck on, well, I'm mixed race and I'm discriminated against and I'm a target and I'm this. You have something else that you're involved with, whether it's a hobby, whether it's something that you like spending time doing. Those are very important things to do because it gets you away from all the race. If you deal with racism, it gets you away from that racism. You can't escape from it, but you can forget about it and you can channel that into other things that are productive and beneficial. So that's one of the reasons I never had to worry about that in my life. But the reality is, that's one of the reasons, getting off of YouTube, even in the mixed race spaces, which I thought were perfectly fine for me, you had some negativity there. Not a lot from my point of view, but some. But it's even important to get away from that and focus on productive things. For me, writing articles, producing now my new film podcast, and doing those things. That's why I said, if you talk about marginalization, okay, you're marginalized. But what else are you? Okay, you're a person who may have a bachelor's degree. You may be somebody with a business. You may be somebody who's a career in, I don't know, banking or something else. What are the other things you're involved in your life? See, it's easy to focus on all those things and it's important, but it isn't about being mixed race and that's it. It's mixed race is a part of your life. It's not your entire life. You have other things in your life. So that's why I've never been somebody to focus on being mixed race. It's not the center of my life. I'm a writer, was a journalist. I'm still producing stuff. I'm still doing stuff. See, when you're proactive and you're focused on other things in life, you're not as concerned about all the obstacles, all the problems, all the issues that come up. So, yes, there's marginalization, but what are you doing in your life to make your life the best that it is? You know, that's important. And I think it's a lesson that needs to be taught to people, even in the spaces on YouTube. Now, I'm not in those spaces anymore for the most part. Like I said, I've come up on a panel occasionally, but that's it. And again, I'm sure there are people in the audience who are going, well, this sounds like motivational speaking. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not looking at that. But what else are you doing with your life? What is your life? What are the things in your life? You know, that's what you've got to be doing. You know.
You see this comment? This lady's on. She's on you today, man. She's on you tonight.
On
She's saying,
me.
"That's great, Al." Well, just focus on the other things while she capitalizes. Every other group worries about race. She's on you. She's not letting up tonight, man.
Who is this woman?
Because
Who is this person?
she's just a supporter. Like, but the thing is, like,
Oh,
every other group has their own self-interest, right, for self-preservation. But we're basically engineered and taught and programmed as mixed people
mm,
to not have our own self-interest. Oh, just blend in with everybody, just work hard, do your podcast, go to school, do all this. But everyone else is super fixated on their tribe. A lot of mulattoes don't even feel like they have a tribe. That's why I'm like, I'm doing my
well,
part.
that's a
But
separate issue. I mean, first of all, the reality is it's very simple in that regard. You have to deal with people. If you feel the way that you do about certain kinds of biracial people, I kept it simple. I don't deal with wannabes. I don't deal with people who don't like being biracial. I don't deal with people who are ashamed to be biracial or don't believe in it. It's simple for me. I just don't deal with them. And you know what? It makes my life 100 times better. And that's what I tell people. Don't waste your time talking to them. Don't waste your time arguing with them. Don't waste your time trying to convince them. There's nothing to convince. If they want, if they don't see themselves that way, let them go. Let them find out for themselves. Some
and
of them will
that's
find out the hard way, others won't.
I agree with you that is good advice. Like with the
Yeah.
wannabes,
It
like
just
don't even
it
deal
just
with them. Yeah.
don't deal with them. That's why I try to tell people in everywhere I've gone in terms of a mixed race group
Yeah.
or YouTube. I try to tell people this. It's just that some people are so proud of being biracial, they don't
Yeah.
understand people that aren't. And I've
The
had to
thing
tell
is
them, look,
the
you can't get them. Go ahead.
the thing is I wanted to add, Al, is that the unfortunate reality is you have a lot of biracial people who swear up and down that they're proud to be biracial. But underneath it, you come to find out they're actually wannabes. Like they'll publicly say, "Oh, I'm not trying to be white. I got a white mama, but I'm not trying to be white." But they'll never say that they're not trying to be black. Like they
Well,
still
again, you
cater.
got to
They're
scrutinize
still
people.
wannabes. Like they're still
Well,
wannabes. They still
right.
cater to black sensibilities. They're still black identified, but they'll sit there and pretend they'll use the whole biracial kind of label. But it's very clear by listening to them, their rhetoric, and they basically still see themselves as a subgroup to black people. But like,
Well,
so
I
they'll try
would
to
call
trick you.
those
They'll try to
people.
trick you. They'll try to trick you
Well,
and say
you
that they're
see,
yeah.
those, it's interesting you bring that up. Those are people, they're not wannabes. I call them half and halves. They speak the language of biracial people in the sense that, oh yeah, I'm mixed race. Oh yeah, biracial. Oh yeah, I identify that. I feel I'm fine with identifying that way. But they really want to be and see themselves as monoracial.
Exactly.
So they're
Yeah.
trying to
Precisely.
eat their cake and have it too. See, those people, those are the tricky ones. Those are the tricky ones because
There's quite a few
they
of them.
will.
There's quite a few of
Yeah,
them out
yeah,
here. Yeah.
right. Some of those people may be confused. And I hate to say confused because it's a stereotype of mixed race people, but some of them may be confused. And they may not, it may be like, yeah, I'm biracial, but yeah, I want to be, well, because it's hard for some people. They don't want to make a choice. And when I say a choice, they don't want to choose reality over fantasy. See, ultimately, if you're choosing one side over the other, that's fantasy. But it's being sold to you by other people in the society as reality because they think that's reality. But it's not their reality, it's your reality, right? The people that tell you, oh, you got to be one thing or another, they're not biracial. Some of them may be, but most of them aren't.
You notice
And they'll
that
tell you that. Yeah,
it's always people who are monoracial that are
right.
telling you, oh, it's either this or that. You can't be both, or you can't be mixed.
Yeah,
You have to just
yeah.
choose
See?
the one or the other. I'm like, wait,
Yeah,
what?
don't you know? Don't you guys notice that? Don't you notice that? It's always the people who aren't mixed race who will tell you that you aren't mixed race. Those are the people. They'll always tell you got to make a choice. They'll
I
always
block.
tell you,
Yeah.
there's no middle room. You know, again, I call them halves and halves. That's a new one for me. I don't think I used that term before. But see, those are the ones. They're tricky because on the one hand, they may be easy to get along with, and you may know how to, and they may be perfectly willing to listen to you. But you have to look at their actions. You have to look at what they do. It's not what they say, it's what they do. Actions speak louder than words, a cliche, but you've got to look at what these people actually do.
Cliche indeed. Val puts racial slurs against us are totally fine on TikTok. TikTok, the most sensitive crybaby place to post anything. What sense does that make?
I don't know. I don't deal with that side of TikTok, so I don't really know. I just make my videos, it's been a writing channel anyway. I promote my writing and now my film Substack, and I don't deal with the mixed race stuff on TikTok, so I have no idea what that's like. I think what's her name? I don't know if I want to get her name. I think MM was on TikTok, and I saw some of her lives, and it was like I don't know. Some of the people there were just again
Is
they
that
were the half and halves.
is that Magic
That's what
Mulatto? Magic
yeah, I
Mulatto?
think so. Yeah, I think there were some of those half and halves there, or at least there may have been some wannabes, but I think the half and halves were there.
Could you explain to the audience again what a half and half is reference to? Interesting.
Well, that is the person that will come out and say they're biracial and acknowledge it. They won't deny it. They
Right.
won't act as if they're not.
Yeah.
But they don't entirely want to be biracial.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
also want to be considered monoracial.
Most
That's what it is.
specifically black. Yeah. There's another word they have
Yeah,
for
I
it.
mean, there are other people and other ones that could do that, but yeah, that's specifically what I'm referring to.
More so black identified, but there are the ones who are like white identified, but they acknowledge their mix, but they're yeah. And they call it a black biracial. Have you heard that term before? A black
Oh yeah,
biracial.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Like
That's usually the people, the half and halves. They use terms like that.
yeah, they use terms like they use terms like black biracial. Like they acknowledge that they're mixed and they're biracial. They're like
Yeah.
biologically, but they're like, well, everyone sees me as black and the whole world sees me as black and I identify as black. It's like, well, you're biracial though. Like you're not black. Like
Yeah, they're trying to eat their cake and have it too. They're trying to have it both ways.
right.
They think
Yeah.
there's a middle ground.
Yeah. It's just I think it's inevitable. Like I look at the younger people, there are a lot more of us now than ever before. And so a lot of us are coming to terms with that. People are finding my social media by just searching mulatto in a search bar. They come across me or other people are sharing my content as well. I appreciate that. And
Mhm.
it's just I think, I'm just one voice. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I know I can be pretty vulgar and assertive and I can kind of, irritate people. I get that. But I am providing a service here where I'm giving people a voice. And I do appreciate like the engagement that I get from people. This is what kind of
Mhm.
helps motivate me. But I'm gonna kind
I
of close.
mean,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I mean, if you get something out of it, my view is I think YouTube is a waste of time myself. But that's just my stance. Like I'm doing other things, and you know, I think other platforms are it. And what you showed of TikTok, again, it seems like you get actually more there out of TikTok than you do on YouTube. But that's just my take based on
The
what you
thing
just showed
is,
me.
even in the chat, she pointed out like they can basically pull your plug on TikTok, where it's like they can cancel you and crap. Like they canceled my live. They haven't done that here on YouTube. They can cancel you, like, and then other people can say racist stuff. Mainly, it's basically a pro-black, pro-LGBT platform. I feel like on TikTok, where it's like those are the protected classes. Biracials are not a protected class on TikTok. There's a guy. I did a live stream here on YouTube reaction to a couple videos I saw of him on TikTok, and he was straight up like a black racist. He was calling us mutants. He said we're mutants, we're confused, and I reported his video on TikTok, but TikTok didn't do nothing about it. They said, "Oh no, it falls in line with the community standards." That's why I know it's rigged, man. Where it's like they allow these type of like Afrocentric, like racist people on TikTok. But then with us, if we post a video, they're going to say it's anti-black or they're offended, and it's skewed, not in our favor. But I'm going to end things here, Al, if you want to finish off with anything, because it's getting kind of late for me. And
Yeah, basically, I've said what I guess what I needed to say, or not necessarily needed to say, but I did. So,
for
thanks for
sure.
having me on.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on. Appreciate it.
All right.
Cool. Appreciate everybody tuning in. If you guys, like I said again, if you guys like the content, please hit the like button. I really appreciate that. Let me see what we got here. Yeah. Escaping YouTube's algorithmic shadow banning is almost impossible, but maintaining a presence on YouTube can still be worth the effort. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. My other channel is like completely, I'm still going to put some videos up there. Trust me. I'm going to do the exoticals and Chrissy thing, sharing some of the screenshots, the comments I saw from the black racist over there. I'm going to share it on that channel. And the numbers won't do as well, but it doesn't matter. I'm still going to let people know I'm utilizing all of my social media to its full capacity. We have a voice. I mean, people are going to try to silence you, defame you, slander you, and all this stuff. You still have a voice out here. People can find you to not be credible. I mean, with me, what the worst thing they tried to say with my other channel is that I bought subscribers, and they never provided any proof, any concrete evidence of a purchase being made. Like they say that to all to YouTubers who are thriving and growing. They say that to all of them. They're saying that now with Exoticals United. I'll just finish off by saying this, like even Chrissy, Chrissy channel, BWE, Black Woman Empowerment. She has over 200,000 subscribers. Over 200,000. Get this, guys. Exoticals United has like 19,000 right now. Last time I checked, I watched her recent video. She has 19,000. The woman, Chrissy, was accusing Exoticals United of buying subscribers. So you'll have a gigantic channel with 200,000 subscribers that will accuse a much smaller channel of buying. See, the slander and defamation of character, this is what they have to do to try to destroy your credibility. They'll make all these false allegations because they see you as a threat. Your voice is powerful, and you have to use that voice. You're going to get a lot of hate. A guy like me, trust me, a lot of people hate me. Okay, a lot of people. I mean, I don't know. I got to kind of think of it. Do a lot of people hate me? I think I'm a pretty likable person. I don't know. I do have haters. I got to rephrase that. But I just have a lot of jealous hoes who like they can't. That's what it seems like to me. Like I don't know if they're haters or whatever. Because I feel like I can get along with a lot of people. White men, black men, white women, black women, Latino, etc. I feel like I'm pretty likable on the internet and off the internet, but I do have a lot of haters, but when I think about it, not as much as some of these other characters. So I kind of got to think about it. Well, I kind of got haters, but not that much. But even with the haters, it's like, yeah, people are going to do what they can to basically silence you. And you still have a voice. You got to use it. You got to use it. That's it, guys. Talk to you guys next time. Peace.